Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. Today is Saturday. I believe it's February 11th. I didn't look at the calendar this morning when I got up, but I'm on a walk. It is bitter cold here today. When I woke up and checked the temperature, it was 1 degree with a wind chill of about 15 minus. I'm not a fan of the cold weather. I used to love it when I was a kid, but I'm not so much crazy about it anymore. I was talking to a friend of mine a little while ago who had been, her boyfriend had been in the hospital down in Ann Arbor for about a week, and it reminded me of a time about 8 or 9 years ago now, when my stepson David and I were staying at Waleska, Georgia, with one of my pastor's moms. We were trying to help her get stuff ready to sell on my eBay accounts because she was going to move. But at any rate, David has had in his life 25 brain surgeries. He has hydrocephalus, and the treatment that works for most people don't work for David. He's on both 2 kinds of morphine daily to deal with the pain. But at any rate, we were down at Waleska. It was supposed to be 2 weeks that we were there. We ended up being there for a little over 4 months, which was fine with me. I loved it. It was a beautiful place in the mountains, and the house was on the side of the mountain. It was three stories, and while we stayed there, we had one of the floors completely to ourselves. Now, I'm going to get to the point of this in just a moment. While we were there, David had to have emergency surgery, and for that we went to Piedmont, I think was the name of the hospital, in Atlanta, which is a considerable distance from Waleska. The ambulance took us down. We didn't have a car, and almost slipped. Anyways, the ambulance took us down, and they right away did an emergency surgery again on his head to replace a defective shunt and defective tubing that was in there. Well, it was supposed to be, as simple as surgery to a person's head can be. It was supposed to be a fairly straight in, straight out, 24 to 48 hours in the hospital. And so I stayed there with him, and the preacher's mother, was going to come down and pick us up when we were done, if we could find enough money for her to come down. We're down there helping her, and this horrible thing happens, and if I didn't have money, she couldn't even come and pick us up at the hospital. But there'll be more about her later. She is a nutcase extraordinaire. But at any rate, the night of the day David had the surgery, I was staying there in the hospital room with him, and he went into convulsive seizures. I ran and got help, and I was I gotta be honest with you, I was scared. They couldn't get him to come out of it. They gave him some massive doses of some kind of medication that was supposed to maybe bring him out of it. Didn't work. So they had me stand in his room screaming at him like I was mad, and demanding that he come out of that and that he listen to me. And he did. But still, he slipped into coma. and was transferred down to, what is it, ICU, where they put, I think it's called ICU. And I couldn't stay in the room there with him, so I stayed out in a little waiting area just outside of the ICU unit for a week. They didn't know if he was going to live or die. I was distraught, to say the least. And I was alone. There was nobody that I knew. And I did a lot of praying. I believe that prayer can mend any and all things. But anyways, I met some people who were also staying there. It was a black family, really, really awesome family. There's like 10 or 12 of them that stayed there, supporting each other, because the couple's daughter was in ICU, and she was in a like situation as David. They didn't know if she was going to live or die. Ultimately, unfortunately, she did pass. But I hope they know what a difference they made in my life, because they took me in there like I was one of theirs. They wouldn't let me sleep alone. They had food. They gave me food. They were constant companions whilst I was there.